Welcome to this week's pillar video for our raw material. I am Tavish Cardiff, and it is Emotion Week. This is the week when we start the cycle again. So the emotional considerations that our mentors and tour mentors put in place, the spiritual component of how we connect to other things, the food component of our mental state and how we have been nourished in so many different ways or lacked nourishment, ignorance where we take all of those abundances and lacks into our body and maybe store them in places that we don't know we have. We take those components and we align them to the ways that we actually feel. And if we're honest with ourselves, we will find that most of the things that bother us root to something in those first 4 weeks. So the middle 4 weeks, emotion, listening, values and ideals, and conflict, take us through the next step of becoming aware of the things that have gone into what was created from our raw material and put us in a position of allowing the things that have been around us, becoming aware of what we accept and what we don't. And allowing is a little different than accepting. Allowing lets us have it exist, but not necessarily have understanding around it. And the truth is, we don't need to understand a lot of things to allow them to exist. And that's a great place to handle our emotions from, because sometimes our emotions come from things that we don't understand or hit us the wrong way. I mean, there's any number of ways that emotions come over us, positively and negatively. The negative ones are obviously a little tougher to navigate. So the emotion pillar puts us in a position to sit still with our emotions, taking a deep breath, putting yourself in the middle of that thought arena that ORM provides, calling up the emotion pillar and finding comfort, finding peace, finding allowance with the ways that we feel, even though we can't change them, even though in a lot of ways the same issues will get stirred up over and over because that's just part of our emotional makeup. Becoming aware of how we feel and why we feel it helps us navigate the rest of our lives, helps us realize when to pay attention, when it's someone else's fault. And generally we will find that everything is within our control much more than we believe that it is when we step out of making other people responsible for how we feel. Now, that's not to say that other people don't do things that absolutely trigger our feelings, and especially if they do it seemingly with intention or without care for how we feel and how we think, then this gets into a space that really gets us stirred up and makes it difficult to find that allowing space, because what we don't want to do is accept it. As we find ourselves navigating the waves of emotion that come to us, specifically during Emotion Week, take that step back, realize what each of these feelings connect to for yourself and for whoever might have helped create the feeling. Our emotional situation is always going to stir us. It is always going to come in like a wave, hit us, sometimes knock us over, but it's always going to subside and retreat. It might come back and we might feel the same waves of feeling over and over, but we will also find moments of low tide, moments where the waves aren't crashing as hard and where we have space to sit quietly in the feelings, appreciating what they actually mean to us or for us. In most cases, emotions are trying to tell us something. They are letting us know what the conditions of our body are at any given moment. So give yourself a quiet space to actually do the thing that we don't let ourselves do, which is feel emotion. You don't have to fall apart and cry and have a stereotypical emotional moment to sit quietly and celebrate your emotion. This is just how we've been trained to do it. once the dam breaks. The dam doesn't need to break. We can make peace daily with the feelings that we have, connect them to what they connect to, breathe and move on. If this pillar teaches us nothing else, it's to stand as if we're at the edge of the ocean, letting each wave of feeling crash over, retreat, and know that we are still able to regain our composure, stand, and face the next wave. Enjoy your week. I will be back next week to talk about listening, the second spiritual week of the ORM practice. Please like, please subscribe, please comment, anything that you feel compelled to do, and look forward to a video explaining the who, what, why of our raw material. An invitation and a welcome. Thank you. Have a great week.